welcome you to take some time when you have a minute to go through it, because it will carefully detail our desires to have the selectmen look at this gem of a building at the top of our center. It's a focal point, it's a jewel in a crown. But it's a tarnished jewel right now because it hasn't had attention. We've been too busy as a town taking care of other buildings and making sure that our children have the bachelor school, the fire department, the library, all of these things in our town center, except for the building on the common, have received careful oversight. So one of the first things that we'd like the selectmen to consider doing is bring forward the operating budget for 08 that plans to reconfigure the director's office. And that is because there's not an area of confidentiality for any of us to go and meet with Mary or anyone from Mystic Valley Elder Services and have a private conversation, because the office is not enclosed, it's open at the top. So if I make a phone call to Mary and we're discussing something, anyone in the building is going to be able to hear that conversation. It's just not, it's not appropriate, it's not right, and that's why it's in the budget, and we hope that you'll bring it forward to provide as quickly as possible that that closing in of the office. We also intend to paint with volunteer services the interior of the building and give it a fresh coat and an uplift so that it has just a new look about it. We're making changes, we're going to make a difference there. The Reading Cooperative Bank has volunteered to help, and members of Brad Jones's office have volunteered to help. And we'll take other volunteers also if anybody has an interest. When we have guests who come to sit and relax and read, there's no comfortable place to be. We have a library, but there's no comfortable place to be, so we fundraised for a creative sit-down space so that people can really have a little congregation area. We have a very nice large print library, but we're waiting for the town's renovation of the office space so that we can make it appointed appropriately. The stacks are somewhat falling over. We want to do program expansion. It's a one-room facility. That space, that first floor, is essentially one room, so we can't run more than a program at a time. And we're presently trying to run programs off-site as well. But that's not convenient for people who are going by the senior van or traveling on their own to remember where is it I'm going to be today to take this program or that. So we're very interested in rehabilitating the building. And that's where my pal Barbara is going to come in and talk to you. But we very much want to see the other 2,400 square feet of the lower level and the other 2,400 square feet of the upper level become really much more useful space to our town citizens, not just to the seniors, but to our town citizens overall, and it would benefit the seniors, of course. And we want to raise awareness about aging. We're doing it differently. It's not the same as our parents. It's not the same passage of life that our parents had. So we're actively engaged in helping people see a future for themselves that's really 30 years past retirement. People are on average are living. That's a big span of time when you can do more to give back to your community. You can do more to meet your own wishes and goals of a lifetime. And we think we're going to be able to do it. So I thank you for your time, and I'm going to introduce Barbara, who will just finish up, and thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you, Carol. I'm Barbara Thomas, longtime resident. I live at 1 Hemlock Road. I am a senior citizen. I belong to that group. First, let me say, Mary Prenny is doing a marvelous job with what she has to work with. Her budget limitations and the facility do limit her. But as far as I think the major needs of the seniors are being taken care of, I'm more into the programming and let's have fun. And I think aging should be fun. I'm having fun. I'm not aging, though. I'm not older. I was talking with a good friend, very good friend of mine, really good friend of mine. There was a little note in AARP that said 60-some-odd% of senior centers want to change the name. They don't want to be called senior. And this friend of mine said, It's not gonna work. Senior center is like an Edsel. You'll never change the image. And I said, yes, you will. Other towns have done it. There's a town very near here that has done it. They have at times over 200 people a day going through the doors of their senior center. Some of them North Reading residents. I see one right there. Because they have these really good programs that they offer. And we even have a North Reading resident who volunteers at one of these other senior centers around here. We have visited many of these friends of these senior centers and talked to their directors and their friends groups to find out how they've done all this. And we're kind of working with those figures and ideas to see what we can do. What the friends would like to do is come before the town and ask for either a new senior center or completely renovated what we have. This is what we'd like to do. We know we can't do this, but that's where the friends come in. We are a fundraising organization. Other towns have done this beautifully. Wakefield got a fantastic new building, new senior center, and it was all done through the efforts of the friends. So in some cases, there are grants out there, there are historical grants, there's all kinds of grants. And in some cases, the town has helped out. But in some cases, the friends have done it all on their own. There's one senior center friends group, and I asked them what they were doing currently for fundraising. They have a brand new 7 years ago, I think, senior center. And in speaking with a gentleman who was the president, he said, we don't do any fundraising right now. We have $180,000 in the bank. They don't need to do any fundraising, and they have this beautiful brand new building. So it can be done. And I think that with a concentrated effort, we can hopefully do it. We have a display board over here, and I will leave this, I'll pick it up tomorrow. If anyone wants to look at it, and also on the table there are a few handouts that just give some pictures of what we have, what possibly can be done with what we have, and what we'd like to do with what we have. My closing remark. We have visited many of these neighboring centers and conferred with their groups. None are even close to North Reading. We are the Edsel. Let's become a Lincoln. Thank you.
I have a question for Carol and Barbara. Basically, you know, what can this board do to help move this great idea that you have forward?
We want your support. When you hear, you're more in the know than we are, although we're trying to be there. When you are hearing about preservation grants, historical building grants, if you want to entertain the idea of having the town really own that building and make it useful on each floor, then get behind the idea. And Mary's sole advice to us always has been advocacy. She doesn't say, I want this, I want that, I want this. She says, go out there and advocate for seniors. Let the town know that we have a wonderful opportunity to do more, and we're not doing enough. Mary, do you want to say anything else?
No, but I do want to say something about this group and these two women. They're going to go far, and they're doing great things. A year ago, August, I was away, and I touched base with Carol because she was having her first meeting right after they got incorporated. And they had a bylaws committee meeting. Now, anyone in this room who's ever been in a bylaws committee, it's like the last committee you probably want to be on. They had 17 people in attendance, and every one of them contributed. So I know the group of these people that are supporting North Reading seniors are a dynamite group of people, and they're going to get things done. And again, we just ask for your help, your cooperation, and your advocacy. Thank you.
That's one thing that would help. I know I attended discussion about hiring an engineer to do a study. Where is that? And,
We're still looking for the magic engineer.
We're looking for the magic engineer. I had put in 3
That we
phone
can
calls
afford.
and they have not yet been returned. 1 phone call has been returned. The cost is probably more than what we can afford to do. And we are doing some fundraising. Perhaps that will come in, perhaps we can get a grant to work towards it. I have 2 more phone calls in to people, and they have not been returned yet. I assume they're probably on vacation. I will put in some more phone calls. We need a structural engineer. Does anyone know a structural engineer who might be willing to donate part of their services? What we need is someone to come into the building and see if, in fact, we can do what we think we would like to do. If it's even reasonable to think about that. Which, there are different steps that are going to need to be taken. Which steps need to be taken first? But we do need to have this structural engineer. We've had 2 people look at the building, just casually. One a contractor and another from another town, who suggested that yes, there are some problems with the building, but we don't know without the structural engineer where to go from here. So that one is still in the works.
We are committed to doing it. We're just trying to find the right person. And then we will bring that report to you because we're not operating in a vacuum. We're just a conduit for better things to happen.
well, I raised the question because, I think from the point of view of doing some work on our town buildings and maintenance and fixing up, that we need to do, and we're going to be discussing that as part of our October town meeting capital plan. I don't want to see us doing redundant things, spending money twice when we don't have to.
Right, and that's why we made this very clear. We came to Greg months ago and said we'd like to do this, and he gave it his blessing. So it's been something that people have been, you folks, I hope, have been aware of, and we're now making it even more public, is that we want to move this forward. And if we wait and it has to come out of town money, it's not going to happen as conveniently or quickly as we might like to see it happen. We can't take the next step unless we get this information and then get it in front of you. So we were trying to cut through some things by hiring someone on our own who would give you a report. We're just trying, in a way, doing you a favor. But we just have to find a magic person that we can afford. And anyone can join the Friends. It's not age-related, okay? It's completely open to anyone who'd like to join Friends.
What I would like to see in your comment about redundancy and unnecessary things being done to the building has been band-aided many times, and it should not be, that should not happen anymore. It should be done in a methodical fashion so that we're not going to have to redo things. Comment was made, if we did some work in the lower level, would that work have to be undone because of plumbing and electrical work? Well, it would have, hopefully would be done in a manner that, with that in mind, so that it wouldn't have to be redone. The main thing.
If they had a complete plan, even if you had to do it a piece at a time.
Right.
That you would take each piece and do what's necessary so that the whole was together.
Well, it's the town that would plan it. It's your building. But we're coming up with some information that would help you, we feel. And then we will help as much as we're physically able to raise the funds that can, I mean, we'd love to have a stash of $180,000 cash that was sitting around on that. But that town that has it, they're twice the size that we are in Danvers. They're twice the size that we are. They have a beautiful brand new center. They're not trying to work in a historic building. And we're okay with that, but if you'd like to see us go someplace else and we'll find a piece of property and build a new building there, we're happy for that. What we're seeing now is that we don't have enough space to do the right thing for seniors, and the town doesn't have enough space to do the right thing for all of the other organizations that would like to have meeting space and opportunities to be in a town building to conduct their lives. That all enhances. It's an enhancement to our town to do something with that building. Yes.
No.
Will you?
I think that these are the structural engineer, and that's a long-term view of the building.